Hello, 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 my Hope More family. I told you I would post on Monday before election, the eve of election day, just some words regarding self-care. And I thought about some other aspects, and I just wanted to take a few moments to share. So if you're coming on now, I'm asking you to like. If you are on Facebook, please share it to your page or any group page that you can. Make sure you follow rules. And if you're on YouTube, please click, click the little bell, and it will tell you every time I come on live. I normally am not on Mondays, but I thought on this eve of election 2020, the consequence of which are so great, I had to get on here and just share a few things with my Hope More audience. I take it seriously that I feel like I'm called to be an elevationist or an elevator, if you would. And it means basically wherever you are, even if it's not in the lowest of lows, I can take you one step up, two, four, five steps up beyond where you are to seek hope. And sometimes with that calling, I get attacked with discouragement because I know a part of my superpower is elevating. And I want to get a hold of you before November 3rd is over because you and me, we got to last through this thing, regardless of who wins or who loses. So please come on, come on, and come on. Click like, get on, share, because I think you'll be blessed. And I would love to hear from you. If you have any ideas, go ahead and post. I'm actually uh, excited because of Election Day. Yes, I said I'm excited because of Election Day because typically I not only vote on the day of elections, I usually get very emotional. I get excited. Sometimes I dress a certain way or do a certain thing. And this particular election, I didn't want it to be any different, although it is very different. I feel different. Do you feel different? You've been talking about the moons and stuff, and I can't say that I'm a believer, but I can say this. I understand there's spirits. And there's spiritual warfare going on right now. Principalities, darkness, and rulers in high places. And that's a whole nother show, but it's real. It is real. And for those of y'all playing around on Halloween, I was like, we need to be praying, saints. Y'all playing around as ghosts and goblins, but there's real demonic activity going on. But I digress. God bless America. Yes, Election Day 2020. You know what? The air is filled with excitement and anxiety. Either people are hearing about pending violence, some of it is making people scared, and other people are getting excited because they want a war. They want a war. Isn't that crazy? So, in the midst of everything, depending on what you believe and who you support, the world is coming to an end, or the United States is coming to an end as you know it. And I think there's like an opportunity to be proactive and pause. Can we all just pause collectively? Can we just will you do that with me? Breathe in, breathe out. Do you feel a little better? Let's do that again. That was better than I thought it would be. Breathe in, breathe out. I feel better already. So I want you, even after this particular segment ends, I want you to post some ideas for Election Day 2020 self care, safety planning, and next steps. Why am I talking about this? Because I think some of us got some real need to think about what is going to be our post election posture. I said posture. How are we going to end this time that's been taking up our life for the last 2 years, regardless of who wins? Do we have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C? Or are we going to just, pack up our bags and leave if the candidate you don't want to win president wins? Or what are you going to do? Let's think about this because we know there's going to be triggers. We know that there's going to be people who are very upset. And unfortunately, if the last few months is any indication, we know that some people are going to do a little bit more than just post on their Facebook that they're angry. You know, everybody's talking about guns and things like that, and hopefully it's just talk. But I think there's a real sense of consideration of like, this thing ain't over after November 3rd. This thing ain't over after November 3rd. So I want to talk really quickly, but very sincerely, that my prayer for our nation and in a practical way, these steps that we're going to talk about is that everyone takes a breather, a pause. Do you realize that when people already get in a fight, you can just tell them like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe they'll think something through and cooler heads will emerge. But when everybody's excited and anxious and you're mad and they're mad, it just gets worse. And there's just this combustion that's in the air that's making me really nervous. So I want to talk about it. Self-care. What are you going to do on election day to make sure your mental and emotional health is fine? Or that you're at some type of homeostasis, some balance. The safety planning, again, we got to think ahead. Like, is this the best time right now to go to a big downtown election result night? If you live in a place that's been volatile, like in Philadelphia, and people have been rioting after hours, is that the best day, evening time to go be a part of something like that? You may need to be thinking more about safety in case things erupt and you have no control over it. And next steps, regardless of who wins or who loses, we need to be coming up with a way to keep our government official accountable. Because yes, regardless of who wins, they're still my representative. They're still my senator. They're still my property appraiser. That's still my president. And regardless of win or lose, I need to keep them accountable. So, I'm starting to feel my help coming because I was starting off a little bit draggy because in my heart, I'm like, gosh, I don't want to sound negative by saying be prepared. I want to sound, like, yes, it's all going to happen and it's going to work out fine. And I know that that ultimately will happen. But I think sometimes people mistake positive action, positive confessions, and being positive as being ignorant or blissfully ignorant, that you don't see the danger. You're like, oh, it's going to be fine. You know what? This is the sense that I have. And I hope I'm not making anybody sad. But if you guys remember, what was that movie? Taken. Woo, Taken. That was a great movie. And in Taken, this young lady goes to France with a friend, and she goes to an apartment, and there end up being like what she thinks are just burglars, but they hurt her friend, and she crawls under a bed, and she sees steps coming towards her room, and her father's like a CIA or somebody, covert operator, who's like it all the way to the United States, and she's on the phone with him, and she's like, her father has rescued her undoubtedly from so many things, and he's very capable, and she's asking him what to do, and her father's like, listen very carefully, you will be taken. What? I sort of feel like God is saying, listen very carefully, things about to hit the fan. What? I just want listen very carefully and everything's going to be kumbaya. I don't know what that means, and I don't know what that means for you, but what that means for me is God is saying, set my heart right, because I can't not only control what else happens, but that there will be things that happen that will make me, if I don't set my mind right, in a worse position. So how are you going to position yourself? So I got 7 things, and all of them are not super serious, but all of them are very, very needed. How about that? I think. So on election day 2020, enjoy the day. That is my number one. Not number one on my list of 7. Enjoy the day. What do you mean enjoy the day? I know I've just talked about basically you'll be taken, something's going to happen. It could be even apocalypse. But if apocalypse happened, is it any less apocalyptic if you start off enjoying yourself? I'm not saying YOLO, but I am saying this. I don't want to be afraid and just full of anxiety all day or all week while things are being tabulated. I want to enjoy myself. I am going to, although I voted, I'm going to, check out some of the news, maybe less than 30 minutes every 4 hours. That's what I said, less than 30 minutes of every 4 hours. So I'm not going to stay glued. I already got queued up some of my favorite fun things about elections to consider, like watching the movie Election with that stars Reese Witherspoon. Looking at, the story where Chris Rock becomes president, those kind of things, like things that make you laugh about elections but it still brings out some truth. Some of you need to read your favorite blog, have your favorite list of songs that you're singing and listening to all day. Some of them's patriotic. Go ahead and decide you're going to enjoy your day. Listen, I said I'm going to dress up and have my own election night results party at my house. Maybe my parents will join, I don't know, but I may Zoom it, but I'm gonna have a cute dress on, and I think I'm gonna get some balloons and everything and get some flowers from my office because I am appreciative to God for this country, and I'm gonna enjoy my day. Everything cannot be, oh my God, what if so-and-so's winning? Oh my God, what if so-and-so's losing? Enjoy my day. So enjoy your day. Do something that takes all the I don't know, takes all the angst out of the sales of just, oh God, what can happen? We don't know, and we're not totally in control. We can vote, but outside of that, you know, you have to live for another day. Another idea about enjoying the day is if you have any particular situations that you're like, okay, I want to have a plan for how to be proactive versus just reactive. I suggest you pre-plan response to possible triggers. Okay, you know what triggers you. Okay, you may be one of those people. If you're a Republican, if a Democrat says anything pro-Democrat, that's a trigger. You need to go ahead and figure out how you're going to handle that because it's going to come up a lot. Are you going to smile? Are you going to say nothing? Are you going to say Republicans forever? How are you going to respond? If you, like me, see another white supremacist type of advertisement, it can make you really, really upset. And when I see things like buses pulled over in angst, let me tell you, I watch Eyes on the Prize. I study the stick movement. Buses being pulled over and bombed and people being hurt was huge. Was a huge suppression tactic of the 1950s and 60s. So I don't laugh at that stuff, but I can't have a red button at every given moment and fall apart. So I have to pre-plan response to possible triggers. So one of mine is I have this little box here and it has some of my favorite things. And, some of these things mean a lot to me. I'm like a little kid, can you see that? Yes, it has a feather in it, pink stuff. But I also have these little pieces of paper. And they're things that I love that are simple, but they're just things that get me out of a funk really quickly. So one of my things to myself is if I'm triggered and I need to just pull for one of these things, watch celebratory videos. So if I'm triggered, I may watch a quick 30-minute celebration video of like is somebody getting into Harvard or their dad's coming back from the military, someone getting married, proposed to, that is something I'm going to do. So I love that. Let's see, so this could be like your trigger box. Get a trigger box, guys, and just, yes, okay, I get triggered. Someone says something about, I don't know, Kamala Harris couldn't be great because she went to HBCU. Like, what? Oh, okay. It says sunning. I may go outside for 5 minutes and be in the sun. You guys, this could be really, really fun. Let's see, what's another trigger? Someone says, gosh, that socialism is taking over the country. When you say you just want to help the children at the border be reunited with their parents, the 45 kids there. Pick this up, crying. Maybe I need to just allow myself to sit in there and cry. So this is my little pre-planned response trigger box. I suggest you get one. And what's great is I didn't create this just for today. I've had this for 3 years now, and this really, really helps. So pre-plan your response. And that's your response internally, because you don't owe anybody a response. Don't let people give you something where you're just having to be triggered all the time and feel like you have to respond. That's crazy, because we are not Pavlov dogs, right? All right. So I mentioned safety planning, and I'm hitting these really quickly, like two per issue. Safety planning. Now, I need you to prep like a tornado watch. Hopefully, because of COVID, most of you already have that. You have your water, you have your supplies. Why am I talking about tornado watch? Hopefully this is not going to happen all over the United States, just like a tornado system. We don't know where it's going to touch down. But listen, if history plays a part, we know that there are volatile people out there looking for an excuse to pop off. So you may need to stay around your home for a few days. I'm going to go grocery shopping after this video. Like literally, I don't want to have to get out to do anything unless it's just like full safe and I feel comfortable. But if I want to stay home because something pops off downtown Perry, I want to be able to do that and not worry about, oh, I need batteries. So also get your gas tanks filled, make sure you have all your phones and laptops charges, because if something popped off, you need to know or need to be in a place that you will be okay without having to go anywhere, okay? And if you particularly live and walk and work downtown or an area that's usually full of protesters, this is a great time to think of alternate routes. What if you could not drive your car home? How do you get home? If something happened close to your apartment building, what would be the best way to get out? Y'all think I'm playing, but I'm not. Where you need it, you will need it, and you will need to know how to do it before the crisis happens. So that's why I say prep like a tornado watch. In like tornadoes, if it just, doesn't hit your city, then you're good and you just got extra water. But prep in your mind like a tornado watch. Some other things to consider is memorize, make sure you write down and memorize as many numbers as you can of people who you really will need to contact. Things happen and you don't always have your cell phone. So please prep like a tornado watch. That's a part of my safety plan. And this next one is not a huge deal in some ways, but if you're single like me, and until I moved back to my hometown, you could often just go days without one person knowing your whereabouts every day, because that's not, in your plan. You're by yourself. These are ways to stay in contact. Hey, buddy up with somebody, maybe another single or a family member. Like, listen, hey, I just want to check in and I would love for you to check in on me in the days to come. And it's really okay. You're not becoming a child. Yes, you're grown and you can do whatever you want to, but this is a crazy time. And I want to make sure that, especially my single women out there, we are staying in contact with someone who would know how to contact our families or whatever to know if we're missing. And again, for particularly those of you who love to protest right now, I'm not saying don't, but I would ask you to consider, is it a smart time now, if you're single by yourself, to go to some protest in a very heated part of America right now? So staying in contact, at least let us know, hey, we need to get you a bond. Did you get arrested? If we don't see you for it or hear from you, could you be in trouble? And I hate that I even have to say this in America, but I'm so serious when I feel God is saying, you're asking for rescue, and I'm telling you, things are about to go down. So, this is very lighthearted stuff that I'm talking about, but at least be considering your mind posture wherever you are. How can you get out? Can you get out more than one way? That's how I'm thinking. So, along the line of next steps, that is talking about, in regardless of who wins or loses, if you're talking about next steps, you're talking about, or what I'm talking about, is how do you keep the government working the way it's supposed to? The people still have a voice after election. And that is if your candidate wins or loses. How many of you have ever voted for someone and they did not keep their promises or they veered off? We still, as a people, have to keep them accountable. So one of the ideas for next steps, regardless of what happens in the nation, consider joining the resistance. I laugh. I'm not suggesting what that may mean for you, but I'm just saying resistance is any movement that is going against something that you want to get rid of. Okay, I guess I could have said it the positive way, like join a lobbying group. But I'm saying resistance because sometimes it's some of the most unpopular issues where you have to find like-minded people to be supportive in the time after an election, especially if you're not victorious, because you can get so down and think the world will never change. But join somebody's resistance that is legal and not violent and totally worth investing your time in, making sure that even if your goal or issue didn't make it, your amendment didn't make it, something you proposed didn't, or you voted for did not get the majority vote, you still have more time prayerfully to still lobby for those efforts. So feel free to join the resistance, the next step. And after that, not after, during, before, check in on your officials, regardless if you voted for them or not. Once they're in office, they're your officials, okay? They're your officials. You get in touch with the city council person, that commissioner, even the judge, especially if you don't have a case in front of them, just like in a broad sense of like knowing who your leadership is, contacting them with whatever your issues may be. If you have a particular issue regarding policy or procedures or just what's happening in the world, check in on your officials. Time is over and done where we just elect people and we sit on our laurels and like, I hope they do what they say they're going to do. No, you go in and let them know that you're watching them. Okay. So those are next steps. So let me talk really quickly again about the top 6 before I go on to the 7. Enjoy your day tomorrow. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And then make sure that you pre-plan for possible triggers. And this is a personal pre-plan of how you deal with it. I suggest getting a trigger box so you pull something that makes you happy and counter out that's negativity. And safety planning, prep like a tornado. Watch. I'm about to go to the grocery store. Make sure you have food, water, everything. So if you want to hunker down or some riot happens close to where you are, you don't have to leave your apartment or home for anything. And that's a very serious situation because we have people trying to knock people off the road. Okay. So, and people showing up with guns at the Capitol. And if some people wanted to kidnap a governor, don't think they wouldn't think to hurt you if you're in the midst of craziness and chaos. So, stay in contact, particularly single people. Stay in contact. Let people know where you are. And on a low key tip, if you're just so concerned about people knowing your business, at least call your own voicemail and leave information as to where you are, because hopefully if you and give your information to someone, they can check it because they can see where you are. Put your locator on your phone, do something. And I've done that. I've left voice messages for myself detailing where I am just in case something happens. So stay in contact. And for next steps, regardless of what happens, we need to make sure if our particular goal or person didn't win, that we join the resistance. We join something that would help push a measure that did not make it. And I would even say join one, even if your measure or your amendment or official didn't make it, because we still have a whole nation or city or state to persuade that this is the right pathway to go. Often victory on election day does not mean victory in the practical results of whatever that initiative or officer was trying to do. And last of the 1 through 6, check in on your officials. They're your officials. Now, my 7th one, I say with all seriousness, when I think about that whole movie about Taken, and he says, you will be taken, like when you're trying to get rescue and God is saying you're going to go through something, I think one of my best ways of dealing both with self-care, safety planning, and next steps is lay prostrate in prayer. And prostrate is a position where you're laid down on your face. It's a position of humility and surrender. And whether this is physically or in your mind, like spiritually, I'm humbled, I'm surrendered. We need to surrender in prayer. Lately, I've been surrendering, even though I still pronounce what I believe is right or wrong, then Lord, your will be done. And I don't know that everything's going to happen in the future, but God, I just surrender it to you. I surrender it. And also, it's sort of practical. Because I think if I was being wrongly arrested, I would just lay prostrate in prayer. And they would just have to take my big butt up while I'm all stretched out. If I was in a protest and people start shooting, well, everybody's going to be prostrate to avoid the bullets. But I would just get prostrate in prayer. Like, not only would I have done that, there's been situations and crises that come up, and it's like, what is she doing? Oh, I'm on my face in prayer because there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I humanly can do to stop craziness. But I can get on my face before the Lord and say, God, not only take the wheel, but have your way. And so I say that with all honest to goodness suggestion to you. Lay prostrate in prayer, even before you go to bed, throughout the day tomorrow and this week as election results are coming in. Let's stay surrendered in prayer and humility because God hates the prideful heart. A proud look is one of the things he hates. That haughty eyes, that, ooh, so your candidate win, oh, we're better. Your candidate does whatever your amendment, and that pride is right there before a fall. So be humbled. This is Hope. This is Hope Moore, and I just want to say happy election 2020. I am excited about what's not only on the ballot, but what's going to happen because at the end of the day, God is still totally in control. And I just wanted to play an example of what I may be doing tomorrow, watching a clip of my favorite a movie about elections. This is a short clip. Now, I do not support what the speaker is saying, but here's an idea of how you may need to just buzz out a little bit just to get through tomorrow. So I'm going to share this real quick and then I'm going to end my time. Thank you for joining me. Don't support that concept, but no, vote, but we get it. Like I said, that is just for me something that just makes me laugh. The whole movie, you have to see it. I don't know, the nerd in me really enjoyed that and thought you might do too. You guys have a wonderful election day, election week. Hopefully, I'll be back here on Wednesday with a new Hope More show for our Happy Hope Day. But I just want you guys to survive and thrive and make it through November 3rd with everything intact, your emotions, your mind, your body, and your soul, and even your sense of will that your participation in this election makes a difference. So don't give up. Your vote does count. It does matter. It does matter. This is Hope. I love you and I mean it. Have a wonderful day. Oh, night. Oh, make sure you go to the grocery store before it closes. Bye bye.